I modified a bit the title of the presentation compared to what is in the agenda. Indeed, as standardizers, we believe that standards are an important help for research outcomes and innovations to be successful in the market, and hence the title, Standards Can Boost Innovations. On this first slide, I wanted to position the two organizations, CEN and CENELEC, that I represent today within the broader standardization picture. Let me start with our names. The C at the start of our name says we are committees, and the members of the committee are the National Standards Organization's delegates. So our main way of operation is based on the national delegation principle. Thus, stakeholders, whether they come from industry or from research technology organizations, they convey their needs and views to the nationally organized groups, which then bring this view to the European level or to the international level, since the same national standards organizations are also a member of ISO and IEC. So my first message is, if you want to engage with standardization, please make contact with your national standards organization. Let me refer at this stage to the ISO definition of a standard. It says it's a document established by consensus and approved by a recognized body. So recognized by whom? Well, in the case of CEN, CENELEC and ETSI, the ESOs, but also for the international standardization bodies and the national standards organization, there is this explicit recognition by EU Regulation 1025. Let me stress in this context two main points. First, the special role of the European standards organizations in support of the single market. The ESOs, they can produce harmonized European standards, harmonized ENs, which are developed at the request of the European Commission, and they translate high-level essential requirements from directives, for instance, safety requirements, into technical specifications to meet those essential requirements. And this to the effect that compliance with the harmonized EN gives presumption of conformity with the essential requirements in the directive. And this support to the single market is thanks to the fact that a European standard has to be implemented identically in all 34 national standards of the CEN and the CENELEC members, which is, by the way, not the case for ISO or IEC standards. The second point I wanted to stress is the link with the global level. Through agreements between CEN and ISO and CENELEC and IEC, called respectively the Vienna and the Frankfurt agreements, we avoid double work. So typically, the technical discussions take place at the international level, but we do have parallel approval processes available, which ensure that the European standard and the international standard can often be published at the same time. Now, of course, not all our outputs are mature enough to mandate the pan-European implementation, which is required for an EN. Thus, we have also other deliverables, such as the technical specification and also the CEN-CENELEC workshop agreement, CWA. For these, there is no obligation to implement nationally. A specific characteristic of the CWA is further the fact that it is not based on the national delegation principle, but it enables direct participation of all stakeholders. It is a method that is often appropriate in an R&D context. And this is because CEN workshop agreement processes are managed by a minimum set of rules and overheads. Hence, they enable a quick delivery of the end product, enabling so the delivery of the CWA during a project's lifetime. Finally, I wanted also to draw attention here on the fact that where we do have a technical committee working on a subject, that we offer the possibility to relevant research and development projects to participate at the table in discussions as liaison partner. So the projects can also sit at technical committees tables and convey their opinion, of course, without the voting right. Let me then come on the next slide to some general benefits of standardization for research and innovation. And these benefits are based on or listed on two levels. First, there is the level of the standards themselves, whether it's knowledge and use of existing standards or contributing to new standards. Indeed, when you use standards, you know that you are using state-of-the-art. You do not need to reinvent the wheel. If you contribute to those new standards, your innovation will also become state-of-the-art. Further, by using standards, you will ensure compatibility, comparability, interoperability with what's on the market, and you will comply with expectations on the market. So you will be trusted by the market. Final on the slide, on the bottom, standards are seen everywhere and also receive a lot of contributions, and so they have the potential to connect sectors as they include needs of other sectors. So an innovation may also find an application beyond the original sector for which it was developed. And then a second level of benefits is at the process level. By participating in the standardization process, you become part of the standardization community and you have advanced knowledge of the future landscape and even can contribute on how this future will look like. The right-hand side of the slide illustrates the fact that standards are relevant at various TRLs, so throughout the full innovation cycle. Let me give as example of early standardization, the standardization of the vocabulary for a new innovation area. Indeed, talking the same language is needed as soon as various parties want to collaborate, compare approaches, compare results, and thus grow a new innovation area. On this slide, it's shown how CEN and CENELEC have taken a proactive approach to ensure that our members are ready to engage with standardization. Indeed, not all our members, remember there are 34 national standards organizations, have the same knowledge level. So through this guide, we are seeking to educate the less experienced members on how to link with the research and innovation community. So this guide contains informational and promotional aspects that can be used within the CEN-CENELEC members to really be convinced of this importance of the link. But the guide also contains then more detailed information on how such linking with research and innovation projects can look like. And so it contains certain suggestions that the National Standards Organization can follow if they want to contribute, for instance, as a partner in a research and innovation project. So can we say we have been successful? I believe the answer is yes. If we look, for instance, at the number of national standards organizations that have been involved to date in Horizon 2020 project, the answer is more than 100. And so this is kind of demonstration also of our policy. CEN and CENELEC as organizations will not join themselves in a research project as a partner. It's rather delegated to our national members who are then representing the more broad CEN or CENELEC interests. I also mentioned before that CEN workshop agreements were quite often used in order to standardize, first step of standardization of research and innovation project outcomes. And so you see here the figure, 46 have been published since 2015, which were directly originating from a research and innovation project. Then this final slide is then now specific to the connected factories field. Of course, it's clear that in the area of digital manufacturing that there is a lot of activities. Most of the activities are taking place at the international level. To that extent, to that effect, I explained the Vienna and the Frankfurt agreements that are at our that are at our disposal. But of course, there are also some activities at European level. And to that effect, we created in CENELEC ETSI a coordination group on smart manufacturing. And I cut and pasted from the terms of reference of that group. And it is the first bullet point. It there indicates that the group is open to projects that are representing research interests. So this is a statement here, an invitation here from me that the door is also open to projects such as the Connected Factories action. They can sit at the table and have their voice heard. Then the final slide is just to indicate contact persons in CCMC, that is myself, but also my colleague Joanna Frankowska, who is the project manager that follows the work of the Smart Manufacturing Coordination Group. So I trust that I was within my 10 minutes. Thank you very much.